This is the part where I am bluntly honest with you, and I'm gonna say words that maybe make you uncomfortable, but it is what it is, and that's all I'm gonna say. That's my trigger warning. The amount of times I have restarted this video, I honestly don't even care how I look at this point. So we are going to jump straight into today's topic. If you're new here, my name is Jay. If you're not new here, welcome back. Happy to see your face. You know, the universe is cooking when I have posted a YouTube video. Today's video is going to be about fitness, so I will be using words like weight loss. That is not a negative thing on this channel. We'll be talking about body changes. I'll talk about how I viewed my body. I'll be talking about different things in relation to fatness. So if these are sensitive topics for you, you should not continue watching this video. You have been warned. That was my disclaimer. Let's get into this. If you see me glance down, I have my handy dandy notebook because I will ramble. Like, I actually made a 17-minute video before this one, and I hadn't even gotten through the second point, and I was 17 minutes in. Here's a little history about how this video has come to be. Back in 2023, December specifically, I was trying on clothes from a friend, and I just started looking at my body, and I didn't know who I was looking at. I knew I was looking at me, but I didn't feel like myself, and I hadn't for a while, and I couldn't pinpoint what was going on. But it was in that moment that I realized you have gained weight. And when I stepped on the scale, my weight wasn't too much different from what it had been, but I had started depositing a lot of fat because I was eating a lot of simple carbs, fatty foods, etc. I was eating a lot of junk, and that really caught up with me. I was also drinking all the time. So I had a surplus of simple carbohydrates floating around in my body, and my fat deposits were showing.
So when you eat foods that are high in simple carbohydrates, your body breaks down those carbs and it turns it into sugar and or glucose. We need glucose, we need carbs. Carbs give you immediate energy. When you don't use that sugar for the immediate energy, it's one of two things: glycogen or adipose. Glycogen is going to be stored in your liver and muscles for future use. Once those deposits are full, right, now that glucose is going to turn into adipose, which is fat.
And the way I was shaped, you could tell how much I was eating out. It was actually insane. And there are some people who would try to be like, oh no, like you had just had a baby. Yeah, I had a baby and I lost all the baby weight. That was 22 though. 23, I didn't even gain crazy weight. I gained like 5 pounds, but the way my body was distributing the fat had significantly changed. My pants didn't fit. My body's pH was completely thrown off. I needed 2 showers a day. I didn't really notice a change in energy per se. I just would become more winded easier because I was not active during this time either. So yeah, that was a reality call for me. Looking at myself in the mirror was the wake-up call. But that was just a part of that journey of body changes and all that stuff. I was over my body, and I needed a change. So that is when I decided, come the new year, I'm going to completely change my eating habits. I'm gonna start working out more. I'm gonna be more intentional about what I'm consuming and how I'm spending my time. And that is genuinely what happened. I started reading labels. I started learning about calorie counting and how many calories I should be consuming in a day, the quality of the calories you consume, steps, like getting your steps in, like simple, low impact cardio, and how that can really change the way you look, the way you feel. So as someone who has been there, done that, these are 7 things from my experience that I had to overcome myself and ways to combat them, because just being aware of the problem isn't always as helpful as it may seem. Awareness is important, but you want to have answers to how to resolve your issues too. For number 1, you keep putting it off. You don't have to start on day 1 of the month. You don't have to wait till the 31st. Clinging on to this idealistic view of how your fitness journey should look is stunting your ability to start it or to take it seriously. The time to start is now. While it's fresh on your mind, while the dopamine is filling your head with the possibilities of what could be, that is when it's time to start. I started my journey on January 29th of 2024. Let me see what day of the week that is. That's a Monday. Traditionally, I feel like a lot of people who, when they start something new, they want to start on a Sunday, but I started on a Monday. I started 75 soft because I knew hard was too hard for me, and that was what started my fitness journey. And the changes in the beginning were really slow, which is fine. We'll go over that. Towards the end of the year, I started working with a trainer. I had did a 6-week program, and then I started actually working with her one-on-one, and I saw some really great results. And yeah, that was the year of 24 was all about slow and steady transformations, being intentional about what I was doing. I wasn't changing my body for solely aesthetic purposes, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So the time to start is now, but once you commit, it's time to commit. So be clear about what results you're trying to see and what that would actually do for you. What would that feel like when you accomplish it? So yeah, stop putting it off. We're starting today. The only person you are lying to is yourself, not your trainer, not your fitness friends who are on the same journey as you and who are doing the things that you are alleging to do. You're lying to yourself, because the results will show when you start to genuinely practice what you say you are doing, right? I feel like it can be kind of embarrassing sometimes when you aren't doing what you need to do. You're doing it with someone else. It can feel sometimes a little more performative, and you can feel less connected to it. I started this thing by myself. I did have a consistent workout partner. It wasn't something we were necessarily doing together. We just both knew we wanted different for ourselves, so we were both doing it at the same time. This is the part where I am bluntly honest with you, and I'm gonna say words that maybe make you uncomfortable, but it is what it is, and that's all I'm gonna say. That's my trigger warning. If you cannot handle direct honesty, that I won't be putting in a cruel way, because I think that is unfair to do, but it's gonna be honesty. If that's not your speed, this is your cue. You do not wake up fat. You don't go to sleep 130 pounds and wake up 150. You just don't. And if you do, that's probably a medical condition that you should go and see about. You will not see any progress on this journey if you cannot keep it real with yourself. You have to be honest with somebody. At least make it yourself. You're not as active as you have convinced yourself. Every day is cheat day. You're doing 20-80 versus 80-20 when it comes to how your diet is looking. But the first step to all of this is admitting it. Hey, I haven't been counting my calories this week. I actually don't know how many times I got up today. Like, especially when you have like a sedentary job, We spend so much time at work that takes away a good bit of opportunity for you to even be active unless you have a laborious job. Admitting what you've actually been doing is the first step to keeping it real with yourself. There's no reason to live in this delusion where you do everything perfectly and see no results. But the reality is that you don't, and you're not putting in the work. Being honest with yourself is the first step in putting in the work. I know what I was doing back from November to January. I was counting the calories, I was counting the steps, I was working out 5 days a week, and you could see that. Now that I'm not doing that, you can see that. And I'm okay with that result. I would like to get back to the other result, but I'm also honest enough with myself to know that I just had Taco Bell last night and I had Wendy's for lunch, and I kind of want Taco Bell again. Ideally, I would go unthaw some meat and cook it, but like that chalupa I had last night really did something to me. So I kind of don't want to do that. I want to go get a chalupa, and I'm about to go get a chalupa. Maybe you didn't eat that much yesterday, but when you did eat, you had a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich combo, and then you got a large lemonade and a large fry. You had Starbucks later on, and you had a cinnamon Captain Ribbon Crunch or whatever it's called. These drinks alone, like these coffee drinks, my normal coffee drinkers who don't make their coffee at home, these drinks can easily have 1,000 calories. A crumble cookie is typically 1,000 calories. The recommendation for, let's say, someone who is like me, 5'5", 145, and I'm moderately active, I think I need like maybe max 1,500, or at least peaking. I just ate my whole cup, but that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is being not only cognizant of what you're doing, but being real enough to say, I am doing this wrong, and that's why nothing is working for me. That's a big one for Elmo. I know, it's hard to be wrong, but it's the reality of life. Sometimes we are wrong, sometimes we don't try hard enough. Stop lying to yourself so you can really see results. Here's some ways you can get real with yourself. Step on a scale. Now, obviously, if you have had a negative history with food and scales and disordered thinking when it comes to food, this conversation is not for you. There are special places on the internet for you that I am unqualified to give any type of recommendation to someone who seriously suffers from disordered eating. But for my people who, you might get a little sad when you step on the scale, but it doesn't make you go change the way you eat. Step on the scale. I feel like we are trained to dread the number on the scale, but the number on the scale is just that, it's a number. It's not something that proves that you're this kind of person or that kind of person. It's a biometric. It's a biometric. If you start to view it that way versus as this like dreadful thing, it'll be a lot easier to deal with because it's just a number. Something else you could do is keeping a detailed like journal of what you ate. Maybe you don't even put the calories you ate. Just keep track of what you're actually eating. And as you evolve, keep track of the calories you consume. People are really, I feel like, dismissive of calorie counting because of its proximity to disordered eating. I'm definitely having good food is a part of my personality. Like, I'm one of those people, and not the people who like think pizza is the best thing in the world. Like, please grow up. Calorie counting can really help you from overeating. Measuring your food. Black people, measuring your food. We need measuring cups in the kitchen, not because you cannot cook. Black people swear you cannot cook if you use a measuring cup, and that's why you're using 4 teaspoons of butter. And you don't need to. Okay? That is why you don't know what a serving of pasta looks like, and you don't realize when you go to a restaurant, you're probably eating 4 servings of pasta. And 1 serving of pasta is already, like 200 calories? Contains 200 calories. So let's multiply 200 by 4. because we want 4 servings, that is 800 calories in pasta. You can take the steps necessary to make sure you are staying informed and aware of what you're doing. Number 3, you have unrealistic expectations, and we need to talk about it. You have to let go of the instant gratification that you are so used to because you spend too much of your day scrolling on social media, which is constantly giving you a dopamine high. When you want to see results in any type of fitness scape, it takes time. It's different for men and women. I've seen someone I was dating like be able to drop weight like that in 2 weeks and look completely different. And then for a woman, it's like been 4 weeks and I haven't seen any changes. I did a 6-week challenge, and I kid you not, I didn't start really seeing results until after the 6-week challenge. Because like, oh yeah, that did change about me. Oh, this does fit different. Oh, this does feel different. So you do have to give yourself time to actually see the changes. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost. Like, oh, it's been 2 weeks and the scale hasn't moved. I'm like, unless you're making some really big changes, don't expect anything immediate. Your results can only mimic what you have changed in your life. If the only thing you have done so far is added working out and you haven't changed anything about your eating habits that you know are trash, you can't expect that much. That is unrealistic. So let's talk about how we can be realistic. It would be very hard to make someone who is shaped like a banana look shaped like a pear, and vice versa. Understanding that your body may not look like your favorite influencers is something I highly recommend, because there are some women who are naturally shaped like that, and no matter what you do, you're not going to look exactly like that girl. There are workouts for every part of your body that can help shape you differently, but being understanding about who you are and what you look like already will save you a lot of hurt. Take progress photos. Those weekly photos that I take in my fitness pal would show me like my waist just going ee, 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 ee. Instead of focusing on the destination, focus on the journey. It'll be a lot more fun if you have that mindset versus constantly harping on the fact that you're trying to get a 6-pack with a V-cut and a BBL booty. Number 4, and this one may be a shocker, you're too focused on the scale. If I didn't say it earlier in the video, the scale is just a number. I try to insert myself at 145 at 2 different points in my life, and you will understand. You can be that number on the scale and look nothing like what you're used to looking like. I've never been big on the scale, but I didn't understand like body recomposition. Didn't understand that I could be one weight but look 2 completely different ways. I didn't know that, and I was like, oh, so that's what body recomposition is, which is what I did for a good portion of my journey. I didn't lose that much weight. I'm only like 5 pounds, 6 pounds lighter than I was back at the end of 23, start of 24. So, but like I don't look anything like that at all. So body recomp is real, and the scale, don't let it burst your bubble. Let it be a biometric. Let it be something you look at and measure, not something you use to determine who you are as a person. Instead, you can focus on how you feel, how your body's changing, how you can go for a 30-minute walk and not get winded, how all of your pants are starting to fit a little loose. The number 1 indicator for both when I gained a lot of weight and when I lost weight or changed my body's composition. My pants fit so different based on what my body is doing. When I had gained a lot of fat, I was spilling over. It was so annoying. They were so tight in the thighs. I would just be so irritated. I first started noticing changes in my body when I was starting my journey. Now my pants fit loose in the thighs. Like that was unheard for me for a year. I just thought like, my thighs are getting bigger, so pants are just gonna be super tight. If the pants are not tight on my thighs, I need them. Because I can get away in the waist region and maybe even in like the calf region, but like the thigh part is always the tight part. So that was always an indicator for me when my body was changing how my pants fit. Really big one is knowing your measurements. I personally advocate for tracking your measurements way more than you track that number on the scale. Using them together is definitely a great tool, but measurements help you see something I feel like a scale can't always give you. You know, like if you are shrinking your waist but growing your biceps, it's gonna say it in the number. Like that's something you're gonna be able to really see maybe quicker than you would see it on a scale. So I highly advocate for taking your measurements. The combination of taking pictures and my measurements helped me stay motivated because I could compare it to where I started. I could compare it to what I looked like 2 weeks ago. Number 5, your why is superficial. And everyone is going to tell you that it's okay to want to look good, and it is okay to want to look good, but you have to be really intentional in whatever you do in life. If you want to see, I think, better results, like when you do things just to do them or you do them for superficial reasons, sometimes you win, but like then you find out you're not even really that happy. Having a deeper meaning to your why makes committing to the mission a lot more sustainable versus when it is something vain or superficial. I'm not saying you can't want to lose weight because you want to look a certain way. That is how you get your foot in the door. But that's not what's going to keep you there unless you have an unhealthy relationship with your body. That is my take. That is solely an opinion. I just don't think that's enough for most people to stay committed. Your why is I want to have better gut health. Maybe your why is I want to have better skin because your diet does affect the way your skin appears. So whatever you make your why, just try to connect to it on a deeper level. Here's how I looked at my journey superficially and whatever the opposite of that is. So in the beginning, I love the way my body looks when it is more defined. I do have curves in the places that I like, and it's hard to see that when I have fat covering those places. My stomach is an accessory personally, so I need her to give molding shape, because if this is slim, then my bootang, and I don't really have much of hips, so it's really just thighs and booty, help make for a nice shape. That's the superficial layer of why I want to maintain my body type. But on a level that has nothing to do with the way I looked, when I had more fat, I did not like the way I smelled, and I started noticing it, and it was something I felt really embarrassed about. No one had said anything to me per se, but I felt like I could smell me, so I felt like they could smell me. And I could take 2 showers in a day and still feel like I smell sweaty, and that was one of the worst feelings. I was so insecure, and I just felt like everyone could smell me. So I hated that because that had never happened to me before. I realized I was about to start buying new clothes, like in a bigger size. No, like I already planned to lose weight, so I might as well get on track. Like there was nothing that you could tell me to make me go buy. So no, I'm not going up a size. I'm gonna work with what I have, and we're only going down. I just wasn't about to buy a whole new wardrobe. I had just done that when I had a baby. Like that's expensive, and when the clothes don't fit anymore, it's very obnoxious. So it honestly made me tighten up when I couldn't fit the clothes how I'd like to fit them. Waking up in the morning to do yoga really sets the tone for my day, and that wasn't something I was doing in 23, but it's something I do now. Just noticing how different changes you've made during the fitness journey and how it has positively impacted your life will make this way more sustainable than I want to look like Hailey Bieber, like in a bikini. Number 6, and this isn't something I see a lot when people talk about their fitness journey, you allow other people to dictate how you feel about your body. Perception is literally in the eye of the beholder. How you perceive yourself and how your best friend perceives you is not the same. So when you're relying on outside perceptions on what you should be doing with your body, it's easy to be dissatisfied. And I don't want this to come off wrong, but there's really no soft way to put it. When you are considered the skinny friend, your fat friends are not going to tell you that you're fat. And that is not to say that they want to sabotage you or they're haters and they just want to keep, no. You are perceived as skinny to them, so why would they co-sign anything you have to say about being fat? They're not going to, and you shouldn't want them to, and you shouldn't need them to. If you feel like you look a little chunky in that dress, you probably do. Don't rely on your homegirl to validate that, because first of all, girls typically don't want to do that. And maybe I don't perceive you the way you perceive yourself. Your fat friends are not going to tell you that you're getting fat, babe. Yeah, you are getting fat, girl. You're going to have to trust your gut, and you know how you feel about yourself. So don't rely on the confirmation from your friends to be like, okay, I need to start doing something. And I know there are some people who are on the opposite side where people will make negative comments about you needing to lose weight, and maybe you don't need to. The same goes for you. I just haven't experienced that personally. I've experienced the latter, where my friends who are bigger than me are like, no, you look fine, or no, I think you've lost enough weight, and they don't say it in a negative way. But it's just like, I know what I want to look like, and I also know that we don't see me the same. So I really take that with a grain of salt. Again, this does not go to my friends who have disordered eating. That's all I'm going to say. That comment is not for you. Sometimes you do need an outside opinion. But for everybody else, you have to be able to form your own opinions about yourself and feel validated in them. So if you feel like you're getting fat, you probably are. You're a version of fat at that. Nobody is saying that you have to think less of yourself. Being fat can be a matter-of-fact thing, but there are a lot of emotions attached to the word, so now people feel weird when they use it. Yeah, I was my own version of fat, and I didn't need my friends to tell me that I wasn't, because even if you don't feel like I'm fat, I do, so I'm gonna do something about it. Even my baby daddy, like, he really liked how I looked after I had a baby. Because one day I had called myself fat, and he was not going for that. He was like, you just had a baby, we're not doing that. And he referred to my body before I gave birth as cute, but now I was like sexy, like grown and sexy. So he fully embraced my weight, and he was totally fine with me not losing it. I was like, this shit has to go. Combat the validation of others. Well, first you have to work on yourself, and that's something that I can advise you how to do. Not in this video anyway, but I would just say, go to a mirror, take off your clothes, really look in the mirror, stare at it, do a couple spins, spread some things open, do what you have to do a jump, cough, whatever. Do what you need to do, but take an honest look at yourself and give yourself an honest opinion. Are you really happy? Do you really feel confident? Do you feel beautiful? That is what you need to do, and that's where you need to start if people's perception of you has been outweighing what you can see in the mirror. Okay? Last but certainly not least, number 7. I don't even think I've been counting at this point, but this is the 7th one. You haven't found the grace and discipline sweet spot. Perfectionism will be your demise if you're the kind of person who, like, if it's not perfect, you can't do it. That was one issue I came into contact a lot with, especially when I was working with my trainer, and she would constantly reiterate, like, showing up is the goal, and you're not going to do everything perfectly every day, but try to look at the things you did accomplish, and over time it'll help you commit to doing all the things that you want to do. Perfection will be your demise, but having a cheat day every day will too. All about finding the balance between, I have to do these things in order to get these results, but even though I didn't do this perfectly, I still am accomplishing my goal. Understand yourself mentally, like what goes on in your head, and you have to understand your body. This is really TMI, and it's not completely related necessarily to fitness, but more so to health and what I've noticed about my body. When I have a coffee with espresso, I can smell it in my pee. Sorry, I told you it was TMI, but like, it has a scent, and I'm like, did I have that much espresso today? My gosh. Which is why I really don't like to drink it that much anymore, because I don't like the smell of what it smells like. But it's things like that when I mean you need to know your body and just have body awareness. I was able to find a sweet spot myself. I started to understand how I operated as an individual. If I don't have sugary drinks in the house, I'm not really going out of my way during the day to get them either. The more I have sugar, the more I'm gonna want it. I know when it's my time of the month, sugar is free range. I'm gonna eat a piece of cake, I'm gonna eat a cookie because I want one. But when I'm not menstruating, I try to avoid that as much as possible. It's all about gradually understanding your strengths and your weaknesses. My strength is showing up. When I'm in that mode, I'm locked in. Showing up becomes a ritual for me. My weakness is once I stop, there is no telling how long it will take me to bounce back. There's one point where I would start working out and I were gonna work out for like 3 or 4 months. And now it's more so, okay, maybe I missed a month. Maybe I missed a few weeks. I haven't been weightlifting the past maybe month or so, 2 months. I've really prioritized more low impact workouts. I used to be all into high impact, and that's cool, but I just needed a break from that. I think that's why I ended up taking a break back in April from training and stuff like that. I just needed a break. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I've been doing this for 1.5 years. I need a timeout where I can just enjoy food, enjoy movement, be consciously aware of it, but not work into like this goal. Now I'm getting back into, okay, let's structure our diet to achieve a goal. That was my 7. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. I don't know if I rambled. Did I ramble a lot? Thank you so much if you've made it this far. Thank you to anyone who has stuck around as a subscriber, and to any new viewers, thank you for the view. I will catch you in the next one. See you then. Excuse me.